Hello everyone, this is a recording of the most missed questions from our Unit 1 test, 1.12 test. To start us off, questions 6 and 7 are considered Part A and Part B, so they feed off of one another. And this one has to do with the story that was the community park, which was also your constructor response story as well. So Part A is talking about the complicating incident, and then Part B is asking for which detail from the story supports the answer. So a lot of what happened here is if you got A wrong, then you got B wrong. So those ended up being two of the most missed questions. If we take a look, which event is part of the complicating incident of the story? Is it that Samara goes to the library to find out how to open a park in Pine Grove? Is it that she's nervous about her presentation for the town zoning board? Is it that she sees children playing tag on a small plot of land between houses? Or is it that she identifies the plot on Cedar Avenue as a possible park location? So when it says what event is a part of the complicating incident, and that really has to do with the observations she experiences on the way home that lead her to the complicating incident. So this children playing tag, in addition to, again, she saw Mr. Peters reading the newspaper and didn't know how he could possibly concentrate because the traffic was whizzing by. And then also realizing through her conversation with Mrs. Yang that she would like to plant a lot more than she has room to. Okay, so that those observations led her to that realization that they did not have enough common space. So after figuring that out, then you're looking for the support for Part A. So this one goes along with her presenting to the town board. So if you had picked B, you probably picked A here. Her nodding and waving goodbye, starting to think about what she had seen on her walk home that day is really what propels her to take action. So that detail is going to be the best answer for Part B. This one goes along with her identifying that plot as a possible location. So if you chose D up here, a lot of the time you picked C down here. And then this kind of goes with her actions, her spending those afternoons over the next few weeks at the library and interacting with the librarian and so forth. So if you picked A, you most likely picked D down here. So it's kind of a trickle effect. But really think about the narrative arc, and the complicating incident is really what propels the rising action. So her observing those three things on her walk home led her to that complicating incident that, hey, my community does not have a public space where people can enjoy and do their own activities. And then question 13 had to do with the other passage, or another passage that was dealing with pretty much a young newspaper reporter who was like her first day on the job. And this is asking about how does the point of view shape what the reader learns from the narrative. And for some of you, this might have been a little tricky, but when we focus on point of view, we got to realize that they specifically put it, the author specifically characterized that point of view. If we learned from a different point of view, what other information will we have, or what will we be lacking? So let's take a look at our options. It gives the reader an account of how a reporter researches for a story. So could we learn how a reporter researches for a story from first person, third person? Does it matter? Yeah, we could learn from all of those. So that's not it. It tells the reader how the narrator conquers her fears on her first day as a reporter. Okay, so are we learning more about the actual, feelings of that narrator because it's written in first person point of view? Yes. Okay. And then, so you really had to go back in and identify that, hey, it was in first person point of view, and what information does that provide for the reader that is different from if it were in third person. Okay. This one, it shows the reader the challenges of working as a cub reporter in a busy newspaper. We do learn about the challenges, but again, it's not about the point of view, though, that helps us to learn. It lets the reader share the excitement of conducting interviews for a story, not, again, necessarily specific to point of view. And then 18 was our last most missed question, most commonly missed. And this was from the final assault that we read in class. There's just an excerpt here, and it's asking about text structure or organization. So I know when we looked at the entirety of the passage, the excerpt, so not just this, we talked about it being in chronological order. You know, he's telling us the account as if we're climbing right there with him. But I think some of you got tripped up on that and focused on, you know, D as the answer. But when it's asking which phrase best tells best why the ideas in these particular sentences are organized, it's a little deeper than that. Okay, so it's really about the problems and solutions if you go step by step. So at first, the problem that this slope that they're trying to get on to the campsite is far from flat, so they have to work on it. And here's how they do that. So again, problem solution is really the format here for this group of sentences. Okay. So if you scored below a 70% on this test, that would be a less than proficient score, and that is, I'm requiring you to take a second attempt on that. If you scored above a 70% but are not satisfied with that score, you can take your second attempt. I also talked to you before this remediation that, you know, there's also the process if you only missed a few questions that you could remediate through email with me, just going through those missed questions. And this is a practice we'll do for all of our tests from here on out, okay? So if you have any individual questions, please let me know.